Disclaimer: TV Chaar hereby declares that this is a TV show promo produced by Chaar Productions Limited and is only made for the purpose of entertainment only. The audio in this promo is not owned by Chaar Productions Limited. Hence, there is no copyright infringement intended. The song rights are owned solely by T-Series and video rights are owned by Chaar Productions Limited.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the host of the show, the beautiful, the gorgeous, Anju Malhotra.
वेलकम एवरीवन टू दिस वेरी एक्साइटिंग शो जिसका नाम है जी ले जिंदगी। आप प्रोमो देखने के बाद तो बहुत ही बेसब्री से वेट कर रहे होंगे इस शो का। जी ले जिंदगी ये शो है स्टूडियो 4 की प्रोडक्शन और हाइमा खान का कॉन्सेप्ट, और आज इसका पहला एपिसोड है और आई वेलकम यू ऑल टू जॉइन मी टुडे इन दिस सुपर एक्साइटिंग शो विच इज़ गोना स्टार्ट राइट नाउ। छोटे मोटे मुद्दे, चटपटी गपशप, कलाकारों से मुलाकात, कुछ खाने और कुछ जीने की बात, फिर क्यों ना हो जाए आपका और हमारा साथ। चलो गाइस, अब हम चलते हैं हमारे फर्स्ट सेगमेंट में जो कि है चटपटी गपशप। और चटपटी गपशप हम करेंगे उन लोगों के साथ जिन्होंने अपनी लाइफ में बहुत कुछ अचीव कर रखा है। और मेरे पहले गेस्ट जो मैं बुलाना चाह रही हूँ इस चटपटी गपशप के सेगमेंट में, उनका नाम है कैरल मॉक्सम। कैरल मॉक्सम एक ऑथर हैं, इंटरनेशनल स्पीकर हैं और साथ ही साथ उन्होंने बहुत इवेंट प्लानिंग भी करी है बहुत बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज के साथ। चाहूँगी वो आएँ और थोड़ा सा अपने बारे में बताएं। कैरल मॉक्सम। और हमारी दूसरी गेस्ट हैं बहुत ही वर्ल्ड क्लास मेकअप आर्टिस्ट जो इवेंट प्लानर भी हैं, उसके साथ साथ वो बहुत कुछ और भी करती हैं, लाइफ कोच भी हैं। और मैं उनको बुलाना चाहूँगी Tabby Mozam. Carol, know you for so long and always fascinated with your achievements, what you do. मैं जानना चाहूँगी, maybe we can tell the audience a little bit about you. I've already introduced you, but tell them a little bit more about you because you're a fascinating woman, and I'm very, very impressed every time I meet you.
Well, thank you. Well, I think just to share, Anju, the journey of life, Jee Le Zindagi, I say this correctly, is experiences in life. So part of how we exist is with others in our community and life. And that's, I think the fun part for me just to share about my story is that I was born on January 1st. So I began my life with celebration. And I think that's such an important part of who we are and how to express ourselves. It's not always easy because life actually started out so pure, and then we go on this journey of choices and through life, which I've been through, everything from growing up to where I'm at now. And I believe that those choices shape our life, and I've learned more about that later on in my life. So where I'm at now, I have 2 sons. I've been married and I've also been divorced. So I think that was a turning point for me in my life that shaped a new direction. So everything is an opportunity to have an experience and grow from in life. And I had an experience to really look into myself. I think until that point, it was a lot about what I thought I would be doing in life and growing up to be in life. There's you go to school, you graduate from school, you finish school, you start work. I was very fortunate at the age of 24 to start my first business. And my business for the first 15 years was all about planning special events for others. So I was born on a special event. Then I planned special events. I just wanted to see the celebrations and everybody else. And I did. I did some spectacular grand openings. I did movie premieres. I did the Olympics. I did private parties. And just the joy that I saw in people was exhilarating. And then there was a moment when I was like, what about my joy? Like, it was all out there, but there was that moment when I had that shift in my life that it turned inwards. And that's the joy that I express and I want to bring to the world, is like when you go in and you discover yourself inwards, what you reflect out in the world, there's a lot to learn about ourselves.
Yes.
And you're saying, like, as life coaches, we understand, because we're doing the work continually on ourselves, and we're like, there's new revelations of ourselves. And transformation is an experience you go through by life experiences.
That's right. And I think that's the reason you came up with a book, which we are going to talk about it in another show, about your book, which is called Life is a Special Event. And I think the background is, you just told us about that. Now I will go to Tabby. Tabby, tell us a little bit about yourself. Of course, I know you also for many years. And again, a fascinating woman, makeup artist, life coach, and event planner, and there's so many other things you do, and it's hard to put your head around it. So tell us a little bit more if I missed out anything.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much for a great introduction. I could say that I wear, as many other women, I wear multiple hats. So I'm a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur. And I think that as I discovered because I got married in a very young age, I discovered myself as the years went through and what I really had a passion. So I think that I loved, from childhood, I loved playing with colors. I was always fascinated with colors. Coloring was a thing for me, was a hobby. And I didn't know that was going to actually become a profession for me. So it was not just on a canvas, but on people, on all different kinds of people with different ages. And I realized that the joy and the happiness that I see in them when I actually, I paint their face with all different colors, it's expression of life. So, right now, when they're not wearing any makeup, yes, God has made every single person beautiful. But I think I feel very happy when I actually put different colors on them and, make them look good. That makes them feel good. And, I beautify them inside out. And that feeling, to see the confidence that they have and the positive energy that they have, it gives me such joy because I'm actually making a difference in someone's life. So I started off like that, and then after that, I just ended up. I realized that I'm good at organizing events, so I started doing that for a couple years. I think about 8 years. And in the beauty and fashion industry, I've been there for about 15 years. And as time went by, I started teaching. So I started teaching professionally, teaching women as a career. And then I started teaching self-grooming. So I always thought that it's very important for a woman. How she looks is extremely important, not just only for other people, but for herself.
Right.
So self-love is very, very important. And the only way you're going to self-love is when you're going to feel good about yourself. And I guess us as artists, we play a very big role in that. And I'm very blessed that I can be a part of someone's happiness. And then I guess slowly, then I ended up becoming a life coach. I've always been coaching people from the age of like 14, and then I ended up making that as also a career. Yeah, as a profession too,
Yes.
for the past 2 years now.
सो ये शो ही जो हमारा है, इसका नाम ही है जी ले ज़िंदगी। तो जो भी ज़िंदगी के लिए हमें अच्छा लगता है, जो हमारी ज़िंदगी को एनहेंस करता है, वो सब चीज़ें हम इस शो में दिखाना चाहते हैं। सो यू आर द राइट पीपल इन दिस शो। सो मैं कहना चाहूँगी इस टाइम आई थिंक मेरा मूड बन गया आपसे एक ये बात पूछने का मज़ेदार कि व्हाट डू यू थिंक ज़िंदगी इज़? आपका क्या ओपिनियन है, क्या ज़िंदगी क्या है, जीना किसे कहते हैं?
अच्छा, वो ज़िंदगी तो एक बार आती है और तकदीर तो खुदा ने लिख दी होती है, लेकिन इसको कैसे जीना है वो हम पर डिपेंड करता है. एंड आई थिंक अनदर वर्ड फॉर ज़िंदगी फॉर मी इज़ मोहब्बत. चाहे वो किसी चीज़ से करें, चाहे वो किसी इंसान से करें, या खुदा से करें या अपने आप से करें. एंड आई रियली फील कि जब अगर मोहब्बत है या उसका मोहब्बत का एहसास अगर आपके अंदर जब आ जाता है तो बहुत ही खूबसूरत लगती है.
So I'll ask the same question from Carol. Carol, my question to Tabby was, what is life? What is zindagi? What is life, and how should one live it? Any opinion on that? What is it really? What do you think of life?
I could take this as a very deep question. Because, but I think that Tabby had mentioned one particular word for me. So if I actually express life as love, is love life. It's a gift. We're given, in presence. So that's why I said the highest form of life is our presence, to be here, to have our breath, to live. We're born, we're born, and then we leave, transition. But everything in between is a series of choices in life. And if we express ourselves through love of ourselves, which Tabby mentioned, love of ourselves and love of life and everything we do, love of the experiences, even when they're not what we expect them to be, the unexpected. We talk about events. So unexpected, unplanned life events that challenge us, they're also our teachers. So life is love and life is teaching us. But one step further is we've all come here with given the gift of our birth experience, but also a purpose. So as humanity, we are given a human experience to leave this world a better place. Like really, we have a journey while we're here.
So कभी आपने सोचा है जीना किसे कहते हैं, जीना क्या है? मेरे ख्याल से कोविड-19 के बाद तो ये विचार हम सब के दिमाग में थोड़ा बहुत आता रहा है और हम सब दोबारा से सोचने लगे हैं कि जीना क्या है, क्योंकि हम जब पहले जीते थे डिफरेंट लाइफ जीते थे, बहुत रश और बहुत ही फास्ट लाइफ जीते थे और हम उसको लाइफ कहते थे. और अभी सब कुछ स्लो डाउन हो गया है, चीज़ें बदल गई हैं, माहौल बदल गया है, उस तरह से हम लोगों से मिल भी नहीं सकते. तो क्या ये लाइफ है? तो इस पे थोड़ा सा सोच विचार करने का सबको टाइम मिल रहा है. मैं चाहूँगी कि यही बात इन सब से भी हो रही है और अब चलेंगे हम आगे. मैं चाहती हूँ कि हम जब ज़िंदगी की बात करते हैं तो मेरे ख्याल से ज़िंदगी जो है एक हर पल जीने की कला है. हर पल, दैट मीन्स लिविंग इन द मोमेंट. जब हम मोमेंट की बात करते हैं तो मोमेंट अच्छा बुरा भी हो सकता है. और जब भी लाइफ को आप एक स्पाइसी तरीके से जीते हैं, जैसे उसमें कलर्स डाल के, उसमें फ्लेवर्स डाल के, उसमें क्रिएटिविटी डाल के, तो लाइफ बहुत ही ब्यूटीफुल हो जाती है. ये मेरा कहना है. आप अपना अगर कोई विचार हो तो हमें ज़रूर टीवी चार कांटेक्ट करके बताइएगा. तो अभी मैं ये चलती हूँ, जब स्पाइस की बात कर ही रहे हैं तो हमारे अगले गेस्ट की तरफ ले चलती हूँ, जो कि हमारा हेल्थ और वेलनेस का सेशन है। उसमें हेल्थ और वेलनेस का जो सेगमेंट है, उसमें एक बहुत ही प्यारी हमारी गेस्ट हैं, जिनका नाम है गीता मैनी, और अब हमारे साथ चटपटी गपशप के लिए वो भी तैयार हैं। तो आएँ, चलते हैं ब्रेक के बाद। मेरे ख्याल से अच्छी ज़िंदगी के लिए हमारी हेल्थ का अच्छा होना बहुत ही ज़रूरी है, और हेल्थ का अच्छा होना अच्छे खाने से शुरू होता है। मैं सोचती हूँ कि हमारे कल्चरल खाने बहुत ही हेल्दी होते हैं, क्योंकि उसमें तरह-तरह की स्पाइसेस यूज़ की जाती हैं, जो हमारी हेल्थ के लिए बहुत अच्छी हैं। तो आएँ, हमारे दूसरे सेगमेंट में चलते हैं। तो हम चलते हैं इस शो के दूसरे सेगमेंट में, जिसमें हमारी गेस्ट गीता मैनी बहुत ही बेसब्री से हमारा इंतज़ार कर रही हैं, और गीता मैनी एक कुलिनरी आर्टिस्ट हैं। वो स्पाइसेस के साथ, इंग्रेडिएंट्स के साथ इस तरह खेलती हैं जैसे उनका प्लेग्राउंड हो। 35 ईयर्स से वो कुकिंग क्लासेस ले रही हैं। उन्होंने एक कुक बुक भी लिखी है, जिसका नाम है लव अफेयर विद इंडियन कुकिंग, और इसके साथ-साथ वो नैरोबी में पली हैं, तो वहाँ जब भी जाती हैं, वहाँ के शेफ़्स के साथ, रेस्टोरेंट्स के साथ जाकर वो तरह-तरह के खानों को एक्सप्लोर करती हैं और उनके बारे में जानने की कोशिश करती हैं। तो आओ मिलते हैं गीता मैनी के साथ। वेलकम गीता टू द स्टूडियो।
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure. And,
तो तो गीता, मैं देख रही हूँ कि आपकी टेबल पर इतनी सुंदर-सुंदर स्पाइसेस पड़ी हैं, और सच में इनकी खुशबू इतनी अच्छी लग रही है कि भूख भी लगने लग गई है। सो मैं सबसे पहले आपसे पूछूँगी, तो ये जो सब स्पाइसेस हैं, क्या ये सिर्फ़ इंडियन कुकिंग में यूज़ होती हैं? तो आपके पास यहाँ पे कौन-सी स्पाइस है? आई सी सैफ़रॉन हियर, आई सी कोरिएंडर हियर। तो ये लेट्स से सैफ़रॉन, हमारे खाने में सैफ़रॉन का क्या महत्व है? किस तरह से ये टेस्ट चेंज करता है, या कोई इसका हेल्थ बेनिफिट है? हम क्यों सैफ़रॉन यूज़ करते हैं?
exclusively in Iran and Kashmir. But I have to say, although it's grown in Kashmir, they do not use it in their cooking as much as, say, Rajasthan does or Gujarat does. It's very popular to be used in Rajasthan for their celebrations. It's primarily used during celebrations. It's aromatic. It infuses an amazing color into food, and it has that very subtle, aromatic, almost romantic color flavor to it. And again, because it's so expensive, it's used sparingly.
ओके। और मैं देख रही हूँ कि आपका ये मिडल में काफ़ी स्पाइसेस का एक मिक्स सा पड़ा हुआ है। ये मेरे ख्याल से, अगर मैं ठीक सोच रही हूँ, तो शायद गरम मसाला का मसाला है?
Yes.
हाँ,
So
तो
ये
इसमें क्या-क्या डला हुआ है?
So ये गरम मसाला का मिक्स है, और ये मेरी मम्मी की recipe here.
Acha.
It's my mom's recipe.
Uh-huh.
And in it, we have cinnamon, coriander seeds. We have lots of black peppercorn, a lot more coriander seeds than we do have black peppercorn. We have dried ginger root as well. So,
अच्छा,
अदरक.
जिसको सूंड भी बोलते हैं
हाँ,
शायद
सूंड.
हिंदी में. हाँ.
और ये इसका benefit भी बहुत है.
Mhm.
And so we have that in it too, because these spices are very hot, very, very heat hot. And so to be able to digest them, we balance them out with sund.
I see. Okay.
So once these are dry roasted on low heat, I will grind them, and the balance of these flavors, they are warm, rustic, aromatic balance to the entire meal. It adds another little medley, another little flavor. So if you were to smell it, I mean, I wish I could transport this smell, this aroma to the audience.
Wow.
Right?
So पहले roast किया जाता है. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I thought they were just ground without roasting.
No. So every
Acha.
spice, if it's dry roasted and then ground, it releases its essential oils, it releases its natural
see.
oils, and that's what infuses the flavor into the food.
Okay, so basic जब हम Indian cooking करते हैं या South Asian cooking करते हैं तो basic मसाले कौन से use होते हैं और उनको हम किस तरह से use किया जाए, कितनी quantity में use किया जाए, कैसे use किया जाए?
Right, that's a great question. And that's where I step up to the plate and really emphasize, do not be scared of spices. Please play around with them in your cooking, in your kitchen. It's the way it is. So this bigger dabba is my essential spices.
Okay.
This is what I use for my everyday cooking. So here I have the cumin seeds, which is the same family as the parsley, and it's a digestive. So when we're tempering the oil, we add the cumin seeds to release their oils, natural oils that help with the digestion as well. Next up, we have turmeric. Turmeric has also its added benefits.
That's right.
It's a healer. It helps with inflammation as well. Plus adds an amazing golden hue to your food. So in the north, I have to tell you, we cook this directly in the oil. Like we'll cook the turmeric in the oil. Whereas in the south, they will take copious amounts of turmeric and boil it in water. So that's their way of cooking with turmeric. But turmeric is used everywhere in India. I mean, I don't know. I think in Kashmir, there probably are just a handful of places where they will not use turmeric. Then we have the coriander seeds or the dhania seeds.
Yes.
Coriander is got a very citrusy, nutty undertone. This has to be cooked through as well. You can't keep it raw. So if you're using the whole spices, make sure you grind them, add them to the oil, and then cook them through. The dhania powder is my most favorite. I don't use dhania and jeera in all my dishes.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people will have that dhania jeera combination spice.
Yes.
A lot of the Parsi communities will have that, or the Gujaratis will have that. But as a Punjabi growing up in Kenya, my mom always told me, you know, you don't have to use these two spices together all the time. So my dhania powder is my most favorite spice.
Yes.
The red chili powder, of course, again, you have to cook it through.
So in heated oil,
so
you would first put the spices so that aroma comes.
No. So what I do with my Indian cooking, it's all about creating that wow masala. So the masala is made with the onions and tomatoes.
Right.
So once you have that balance with the onions, tomatoes, garlic, and ginger, and then you start layering with the spices.
Right.
So those spices will cook through as we go along. And the red chilies will cook through, release their oils, release their aroma, release their flavors and their color. So once everything's cooked through, I mean, it's patience, but have fun. I mean, enjoy yourself.
Yes,
like cooking should not be a chore.
So these are the basics of Indian cooking.
Yeah.
So everybody should have these on their shelf.
Yes.
So if they want to eat Indian cooking, then you got to have these spices definitely in your cupboard to make Indian food. I see you have some other stuff here. I see some of the stuff here. This one
Okay,
is very
so this is
interesting.
very, so this is
Star
star
anise,
anise.
right? Star anise.
Yeah,
Yes.
so star anise is very aromatic.
Yes.
And it's used a lot in South Asian cooking in the South, especially, but also a lot in the Far East.
I see. Okay.
So, where did all these spices come from? I mean, India is not unique to these spices. These spices traveled with explorers.
Right.
And as India got conquered, for that matter, as Pakistan got conquered, and I mean, the British came in, the explorers came in, they brought their spices with them. Red chili is not unique to India. Red chili came from Portugal. The Portuguese brought it to Goa.
Okay.
So, they brought the red chili. No wonder they have that special piri piri chicken. They have the
Yes.
Nando's chili sauce. So that's where we adopted it from.
So another one I see here, very interesting, which I find of course, cinnamon. I make tea, cinnamon tea a lot, but I guess it's used in cooking as well.
Yes.
I see cinnamon, very nice cinnamon here.
Okay, so-
and how would you use this? Like, what dish would you use the cinnamon in?
All right. So let me take the mystery out of cinnamon as well.
Yes.
Through my last travel to India, I bought this book called The Flavor of Spices. And in it, she talks about cinnamon. So if I remember correctly, she talks about cinnamon growing extensively in Sri Lanka. So in the south, this is what they grow. And it's twirled up. And it's amazing. It's a bark. It's a thin bark that they dry in the sun and it rolls
Yes.
naturally. So this is an antifungal property. This cinnamon has antifungal properties.
So great health benefit.
Great
of
health
course.
benefits.
Yes.
So, when we're making khichdi, for example, when we were ill and our mums used to make this khichdi with rice and moong dal, both comforting foods,
Yes.
we also add black pepper to it. We also add cinnamon to it. We also add bishop's weed, which is ajwain.
Yes.
And so those are all healing properties. Those help us get our cells back on track, build up our immune system. So going back to cinnamon, it's an antifungal property.
Okay.
Okay, so this we call dalchini. In India, we call this dalchini. Do you know why we call it dalchini?
Good question.
All right, so again, from this book, I discovered that dalchini comes from China, and it's called
very nice.
dalchini, so Chinese wood.
Okay.
So this is like the bark,
Okay.
Chinese wood. So they use this a lot in their cooking,
In their cooking.
simultaneously with star anise.
Yeah.
So
So all these spices basically have health benefits, and they can be used. And as Geeta said, use them freely. Try them in different different foods. Try them in different dishes, and they really add benefit to the health. So lastly, I will talk about, you have a book here, which is called Love Affair with Indian Cooking.
Okay, just to correct you, an affair with Indian
affair with Indian cooking. Okay, yeah. Well, affair is a love affair,
Yeah,
I think.
it is. And
So-
you were talking about life and zindagi and mohabbat.
Yes.
So my love affair with life actually goes through cooking. That's my playground. That's where I heal myself. That's therapeutic for me.
Yes.
And so during the COVID times, I've been cooking intensively. Like I just immersed myself in the kitchen, forgot about the outside world, and wanted to nourish my family because they needed nourishing. They
Yes.
needed healing. They needed support.
Yes.
The only way I could find support was by providing good food for them.
Of course, and food is so important for our immunity, and especially in these times when COVID-19 is on the rise. So, very interesting spices, Geeta. I'm really fascinated to look at these. And of course, if you need to have any lessons from you, I'm sure you can call us at the studio, and we'll connect you guys with her.
So just very quickly, can I
yes,
just tell
of
you a
course.
little bit about my story?
Okay.
And sort of demystify Indian cooking and how I took the fear out of cooking for myself by just playing in my playground. I was constantly trying out things. I remember cooking my first meal for my husband, and I made moongi ki dal and chawal, and posho is green beans, and aloo. And I thought I'd done a great job, but I knew it just didn't look right. Like there was something missing. And I knew it didn't taste like my mom's. But Vipin, my husband, was so cooperative, so supportive. He goes, no, this tastes great. If you don't believe me, let's go to my mommy's house, and she will determine if this is good or not. And that I never lost that battle. Like, I just continued, persevered. I mean, they all supported me, gave me the confidence to keep on trying. And it's all about persevering, trying, have fun. If you don't like a spice, don't use it. It's not going to ruin your meal.
Absolutely.
But there is a reason why we use a lot of these spices, because they are healing. They have healing properties.
They are healing, yes.
And flavorful. So build those flavors. Just don't put everything in the pot and say, this is what I'm going to cook. If you're not in the mood to cook, get a takeout. Only cook when you're in love with cooking.
And I will also say, you can always read her book, and they'll tell you which spice to use for what dish. And of course, life is all about health and wellness. And if you're healthy, you feel good. And of course, the spices are important in Indian cooking, or any cooking really, because they have healing properties. So do use them. And I thank you, Geeta, for coming.
Thank you for
having me.
And it's been
a pleasure.
Yeah, and it's always been a pleasure to share whatever I know and the little bit I can help out people, especially the youngsters who've never ever been at home, always been busy with their school and universities. This is the time.
Thank you.
All right.
जिंदगी में खुश रहने के लिए एक और चीज़ भी बहुत ही ज़रूरी है, जो कि है क्रिएटिविटी। जब भी हम कुछ क्रिएट करते हैं, हमारा माइंड खुलता है, हमें खुशी होती है और हम और ज़्यादा एक्सपैंड करते हैं। तो इसीलिए अब हम दूसरे सेगमेंट में चलते हैं हमारे शो के, जिसका नाम है क्रिएटिव कॉर्नर। मैं चाहूँगी इस सेगमेंट में अपनी बहुत ही स्पेशल गेस्ट को बुलाना, जिनका नाम है अगाथा विशयंस्की। So tell us a little bit about yourself. I have given some information about you. You are very, very well-known artist, and your art speaks for itself, because really whenever I see your art, it's like I'm seeing something more than the art. And I think that's the quality of art, I guess. But you just feel like connecting to your art. Maybe because I'm also a spiritual person. Tell us how your journey to seeing spirit in art began. Like, how do you see spirit in art?
Well, I believe that we humans are beings of light having human experience. And more likely as well, the spirit of light surrounds us. Therefore, when I paint, there is a lot of illumination in my art. So light basically becomes an integral part of my composition. I work with various themes, and the ones examples that I brought are of a flower, and there is a lot of illumination coming through. So I feel like light is an omnipresent force that brings life to objects, and it permeates physical matter. So in short, I feel that light is what life is all about.
Exactly. So, wow, very well said. And also I saw on your art, there was a art of a horse. And you were telling me that you actually, when you make a painting of a horse, you actually go talk to the horse. You actually, at a spirit level. And that was very interesting to me when I heard that, because it is like conversating with your own, whatever you paint, you're conversating with them, and of course that brings life into your painting as well. So I think that's what we are so fascinated to see, because you actually almost see the reality in your painting, and more than that actually. So what inspired you? How did you get into being an artist?
So basically, I've been always creative since I was a small child. My mom has signed me up for art classes when I was little, and it just came out of me naturally, and it pretty much stayed with me all my life. So it's just such a big part of me that I can't live without it, and it's a natural state of being, creation and creative process, and making art that speaks on an energetic level. which creates specific energy signatures and emanates to people with specific energy frequencies, is what I'm very interested in doing.
I see. And I know Carol knows you for quite a while. And in fact, Carol was the one who introduced me to you. I'm sure, Carol, you are fascinated by the art as well as much as I am. So tell me, what do you feel about our art? And
Well, I think the first word you said is feel. So, and you said about the omnipresence. So there's an unspeakable presence when you walk into the gallery where Agatha's work is displayed. It absorbs within you. So that's the light transference, I would say, from the art and going within, and then the experience of we're gifted. You talk about each of our gifts in life. We're gifted with visual. And so as the recipient in experiencing the art, there's such a joy, but there's an energy transference from the art to yourself. And it actually, each one of us, I'm sure, as we look at the pieces, we get something, a part of ourselves fulfilled. So, and it's the spirit within that's connecting with the art. And, you know, you said since you were a child, you've been involved in this so naturally, like an organic growth of this beauty within yourself expressed in the art form, you know, during your time here. But for me, I get the joy of experiencing to be with the art. And I'm not an artist myself this way, but wow, what a gift. You know, the moment we met, there was just, I went back. I know I met you the first moment, then I went back for more because it was so special. And the exchange that, you know, I wanted to learn more. There's a curiosity and an awareness and an expansion. And then if you even go from what I'm saying, from my personal experience, from others' experiences, what does this bring to our lives to have art in the world? What is it, you know, that when we bring art into our homes, into our offices, into our environments, what are we curating with that? And that's the gifts that you've brought to us, is your, you know, your talent and expression that we get to experience.
so I also see you do a lot of themes, different themes. Like I've seen your art with animals, nature. You've done spirit art as well. So what is your most favorite? Like, is there a favorite or?
So I would say that favorite comes with the stages of my life that I go through and the growth of the spiritual growth that manifests through my art in that specific time of my life. So I've been going through various life stages of spiritual expression. To give you an example, I work with Buddhist monks. I actually have physical friends who are Buddhist monks. I've painted a lot of monks, and people
Yes,
actually
I
bought them
saw
for
that.
meditative
Yes.
practices. I've done flower. I've done horses, and just spiritual, as in shamanic. However, my latest one is about plastic bags, and it is quite interesting, and I feel it's the dearest to my heart at this stage of my life and the growth that I'm at, because I believe it allows me to be more out into the open and sharing with Mother Earth. So I called this series Plastic Bag versus Mother Earth. And the example here that is closest to us is a photograph of a plastic bag that was brought with me from a grocery store, and it got illuminated when it was on the table. And then I had this sudden inspiration, and I went into this deep sense of state that I can't even explain, as if my soul sort of traveled outside of me, and then it just hit me. And so I decided to start working on things that basically let us think about the environment.
Yes, I was going
And
to say
so
that.
it made me realize what we humans create, and these are, let's say, plastic bags, and then what Mother Earth creates in return, which are forces of nature such as fires. We have experienced one in Australia. I have a piece of a plastic bag that I painted that looks like Australian fires, and I called it Australia. This one is about floods and tornadoes. It reminds me of the movement of water and flooding. So I feel like it is meant for us humans to stop and think a little bit, see how we are interacting with Mother Earth and how she is interacting with us, and maybe we can create a better cooperation.
Yes. And another thing I noticed when I was going through your website was that you have different names for each art you actually create, which is very interesting to me because I was looking at the monks and when they were sitting differently, you had different name of that
Yes.
painting, and it was, and I could actually see that name in that painting, which was very, very interesting to me. And I also know that you also do art sometimes for real estate people for their, they can actually take it from you and, do the staging for their expensive condos or expensive homes. So I think that's another side of you which I came to know. And, one of my friend actually have your art in Toronto right now in the downtown condo. All this, but your main focus is really to bring change to the world, I think, through your art, or let people see the spirit of humans, and also to see what Mother Earth is trying to say to us. And I
Yes.
think that's very fascinating. I guess Carol had a couple of questions also.
Well, I'm going to take from what you just said there inside of communication. So there's communication that you receive from within, I hear. And then there's also with the people that this particular piece you shared with me with the floral, like people, there's an expression that you communicate with the soul that connects you. And then you're painting with that person's impression. So I just want to
Yes.
tell us, like, what's that like for you in your communication from within and then externally with your clients that you work with that you're hired to do pieces for?
So I feel it's an interesting question, but I feel it stems from the fact of my meditative practices. I've learned to go within by meditation, and I was able to go into that state quickly, and that started with my monks. And so through practices, as the time went by, I was able to connect with that faster, and I was able to dig out things that I wanted to put on canvas, and the inspiration just started to flow through me much easier and faster. Also, I feel when I do, let's say, commissions, when I meet people and they tell me what they want and what they like, I get a sense of them pretty quickly and pretty well. So I've learned to be very psychic in a way and sort of intuitive as well. And so that works. Like this one on the far is called Rainbow Body. It's quite a spiritual piece, and it's somebody I never met physically, but the commission was done for a lady who happens to be a real estate agent, actually, from Quebec. And when we spoke on the phone and we met through Facebook, she's very spiritually aware. And so I called it Rainbow Body because
Yes.
all the chakras were aligned and we had a perfect communication, and she loved the piece when it was finished. So that sort of like closes the cycle there.
And the piece next to it, I guess one is a bag, right? One is a.
Which is the light source of that's actually,
That's right.
when you were speaking about the other piece here with the light and the light and the plastic bag, it brought to my attention how much awareness, like the simple things that we can take for granted. You talked about moment by moment, but our delight is right before our eyes if our eyes are open
Yes.
and our
Yes.
experience is open. So we're talking a lot about the light, within our connection, and we wouldn't have met without that connection. When
Yeah.
I've been with the monks and the Madashris, and like I've been on
Yes.
my journey, so it's natural that the timing would be to all be orchestrated together. It's no
Yes,
accident that we
yes.
met. Like it was the perfect time. So I want to actually discover something like, you said about stages of life, and in stages of life, if you for any reason couldn't be your expression through art, like who would you know yourself to be?
I can't imagine myself to exist
I would have said that too.
without being my true self and who I am. I would probably wilt and die, I'm guessing. I just can't imagine being closed up and not expressing my true being of self.
So I really feel that artists are like magicians. Actually, they don't only change their own lives, or they actually change lives around them. क्योंकि जैसे हम आर्ट को देखते हैं तो हम उसमें अपने हिसाब से जो हमारे अंदर होता है उस हिसाब से हम उसको देखते हैं और उसको उसमें एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, लेकिन जो आर्टिस्ट होता है वो उसमें कुछ और देखता है. सो जब आर्टिस्ट और हमारा देखने का नज़रिया एक हो जाए तो आप समझ लें कि आपके आर्टिस्ट के साथ आप इन ट्यून हो गए हैं. लेकिन आर्टिस्ट के बिना ये जो ज़िंदगी है, ये जो दुनिया है, मेरे ख्याल से बिल्कुल नीरस हो जाएगी, क्योंकि अगर आर्ट नहीं होगा तो कई चीज़ें हम शायद ज़िंदगी में कर ही नहीं पाएंगे, देख ही नहीं पाएंगे, क्योंकि एक क्रिएटिविटी, एक इमेजिनेशन जो एक आर्टिस्ट करता है और जिन चीज़ों को डिफरेंट तरीके से देखता है, वो हमारे तक उस इमेजिनेशन को लाता है और हम उसको देखते हैं. तो अगाथा उसी तरह की एक आर्टिस्ट है, क्योंकि जैसे हम एक बैग को देखते हैं तो हमें एक बैग नज़र आता है, लेकिन इसको उसमें नज़र आया कि ये बैग हमारे एनवायरनमेंट के लिए कितना ख़राब है, और उसको उसने आर्ट पीस बना दिया, उस फीलिंग को उसने आर्ट पीस बना दिया, और वो मैसेज वो इस आर्ट के ज़रिए हमारे तक लाने की कोशिश कर रही हैं. तो ये है ब्यूटी ऑफ ए आर्टिस्ट. अगाथा, आई वांट टू आस्क यू वन अनदर क्वेश्चन. A lot of people want to do art, but they're scared. What would you say to these people?
I would say go and explore and explore that part of yourself, and don't be scared, and just go on that journey and go with the flow of your own creativity, expression, and wherever the soul will lead you, because don't give in to the fear. Because one day you might regret it.
Yes, actually, there's one sitting right here. I'm also a beginner artist. In fact, I've done a few paintings, and it's really, really, I totally agree with you that when I actually do art, I totally immerse myself into it, and 3-4 hours go by. I have no idea even what has happened with that time. So beautifully said, and I thank you for coming to the studio. और अब हम चलते हैं लाइफ के बारे में बात करने. हमारी ज़िंदगी खुश रखने के लिए कुछ और भी ज़रूरी है कि हम अंदर से जो फील करते हैं वो अच्छा हो. और जब भी हम कभी देखते हैं कि जब वीकेंड होता है हम तैयार नहीं होते और सुबह उठ के ऐसे ही नीचे आ जाते हैं और फिर पूरा दिन ऐसे ही रहते हैं, तो शाम तक हमारा मूड थोड़ा ख़राब होना शुरू हो जाता है. तो आपने देखा होगा, फिर हम दूसरे दिन सोचते हैं कि आज हम सुबह सुबह उठेंगे और तैयार हो जाएंगे और खूब अच्छी तरह से कपड़े पहन के बैठेंगे ताकि हमारा मूड अच्छा रहे. और वो वाकई काम करता है, क्योंकि जिस तरह से हम अपने आप को रखते हैं नीट एंड क्लीन, टाइडी, और तैयार होते हैं, तो हमें फीलिंग अच्छी आती है. और फीलिंग अच्छा जो करना है वो बहुत ही ज़रूरी है खुशी के लिए, हमारी ज़िंदगी के लिए. देखिए, अब चलते हैं अपने अगले सेगमेंट में जो है लविंग योरसेल्फ, और उसमें हम दिखाएंगे कि आप किस तरह से अपने आप को अच्छा फील करा सकते हैं. क्योंकि वैसे तो भगवान ने हम सबको बहुत सुंदर बनाया है, क्योंकि हम सारे ही बहुत सुंदर हैं, अपने आप में कंप्लीट हैं. लेकिन कभी-कभी हम सोचते हैं, स्पेशली जब हम कोई स्पेशल इवेंट्स में जाते हैं या कुछ स्पेशल हो रहा होता है हमारी लाइफ में, तो हम सोचते हैं थोड़ा सा मेकअप में हेल्प ले लिया जाए. तो मेकअप करने से हम अच्छा फील करते हैं, और शायद जो हमारा ड्रीम होता है वो एक रियलाइज़ होता है जब हमारा कोई मेकअप करता है. जैसे कि आज आप देख रहे हैं मेरा भी मेकअप किसी ने किया है. तो चलते हैं इस सेगमेंट में लविंग योरसेल्फ, और मिलते हैं टैबी मोज़म से, जिसको आप पहले मिल चुके हैं, मैंने शुरू में इंट्रोड्यूस कराया था. तो अब वो दिखाएंगी कि आप अपने आप को किस तरह से सुंदर बना सकते हैं, थोड़ी सी हेल्प मेकअप आर्टिस्ट की लेकर. हम पहुंच गए हैं टैबी के पास और देखते हैं यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है. बहुत सारा कॉस्मेटिक पड़ा है और ब्यूटीफुल मॉडल बैठी हैं. सो टैबी, आप क्या करने जा रही हैं?
Oh, thank you very much. Acha, I wanted to first introduce my model. So I just wanted to introduce you guys to my model. This is Aisha. Aisha, could you tell us a little bit what you do?
Yeah, my name is Aisha, like she said. I'm a sales and leasing consultant at Frost GM in Brampton. So if you guys need cars, I'm more than welcome to help you out.
Oh, well, that's amazing. You can see a great entrepreneur here who's actually a woman and selling cars. So I think that is phenomenal. Women are great in all trades. So we're actually doing a party makeup, something very soft though. What I did do, I have already done her eyes. I've given her a little bit of color, but with a bit of green, just because it's fall, and I wanted to kind of give her a different kind of look, with the white dress here. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to give her a little bit of blush and also do her lips here to give her a fresh young look here. So I'm going to start that right
Which she
now.
already is. She's pretty young.
Yes.
So you'll be now younger.
Yeah, she's going to look even younger and more blush. So I'm just going to put a little bit of
So
blush
Debbie,
on
पहले
her cheeks.
आपने foundation लगा रखा है. Already foundation
First,
लगा हुआ है,
actually,
right?
what I did is I put primer. So
अच्छा.
obviously, after you cleanse, tone, and moisturize,
Right.
right after that, then I put a primer. And the reason why we use primer is to even out the skin, and gives a little bit of a luminous skin to her face here. And it gives,
Okay.
if you can see, there's a nice little glow. So a good quality primer would be the ideal thing to put on first, and then after that I put on foundation.
Okay.
And obviously this foundation is like a multi-purpose. It all depends. Like if you use one coat, it's going to give you more of a sheer look. So I doubled it up just a little bit. It's not
I
full
see.
coverage, but just enough for her to look nice and fresh and glowy for her party. And
So any concealer used at all?
yes,
or-
I have used a little bit just to give her a little bit. If you can see right here, a little bit of concealer I put here, a little bit of highlight I've done, and she already has beautiful features. So she has great high cheekbones here. So I didn't have to
Right.
really do much.
Yeah.
So I gave her just a little bit of contour on her cheeks and on her forehead, as you can see, just to kind of give her some color there to even out her entire skin here. And now I'm just going to put some blush here for you guys so you can see what makeup actually does. Just a tad of a little bit of blush, you can just brighten up the face. And as you can see, I'm actually gliding it just where her cheekbones is. I'm not giving her too much blush here. I just want to give her a little bit of color to brighten up her face.
अच्छा.
Since it's party makeup here. And you can see that. Sometimes when you're going to a party and you don't have time, you can really limit yourself. We have just a couple of products to use. Sometimes I just take my blush and I'll just use a blush like on the sides here and a little bit on the forehead just to give her a little bit of more color.
Right.
And because sometimes you don't have time to do so much makeup at one time before you leave, so it just kind of covers up the entire face here. So I'm going to do her lips now. And we're
So,
gonna
but what about contour? Like, how did you do
so
that?
contour, I did very little. Like I haven't done much. But it's a party makeup, and she's just going out with her friends.
Okay.
So it's one of those things that you're just going, having dinner with your friends. So I didn't want to really overdo it.
Okay.
So I put a little bit on her cheekbones right here, if you can see, on both sides. I don't know if you can. And I did put a little bit on her forehead, because the forehead is a little bit wide. So with makeup, with the contour, you can cover it up a little bit to give it a little bit of definition into her skin. And from here too as well, she doesn't really need much contour because of the great jawline that she already has.
Right.
But just to give her some definition, define her features, that's what I did. So basically we're just enhancing her
Okay.
features. So I'm just going to do her lips now. Because then it would brighten it up. It just evens out the whole look.
Evens
right?
out, yes.
But because she's only wearing white, I decided that I'm just going to give her more of a brighter lip color to give her a nice.
Looks very nice,
Yeah.
actually.
See, what makeup does is literally enhances.
What are you using now?
I'm using a
Debbie?
little bit of lip gloss
I see. Okay.
for some shine on her lips.
So you use the matte lip. Was it a matte lipstick?
It was a liquid. Yes, it was a matte lipstick, a liquid lipstick by Amara. That's one of the
Okay.
brands that.
And
I
you
use.
wouldn't use lip gloss on a already glossy lipstick, right?
Well, if it's already, some people like it. It all depends on what you like. So some
Okay.
people like it very, very glossy. So they would sometimes add a little bit more gloss to their lips.
Ah,
But if it's already very glossy, they don't really.
They
It's
don't
not
need it,
necessary.
yes.
Some people, what they do is they even eat up their lipsticks even more quicker
Yeah.
than others. So if that's it, then obviously they're going to want to put some more
Right.
gloss on it. Just go there. There you go.
Very nice.
Okay, so you look in the camera. Go like this here. Yeah, just pat your lips a little bit. There you go. So you want to turn the chair here. Okay, that's here. Perfect. So this is more. This is our party makeup look here that's completed. I just need to actually, what I'm going to be using is a fixer. It's a spray to fix her makeup. Close your eyes, please. This is
So then it
just
will
going
stay
to-
longer.
yes,
That's
it's
what
gonna-
this does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's going to give her a long-lasting look. But if you know, when you have oily skin, then I would use more of a matte fixer. And if it's like, yeah, because it makes a difference. Because otherwise, then their skin will get more oily. But if if their skin is just normal to dry, then I would use something that has a little bit of more, hydration in it.
I see.
So,
So also the foundation, before that you probably use the moisturizer with hydration as well,
Yes.
depending on your
Yeah,
skin
depending on
type.
the skin, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need to know the knowledge about what kind of skin type. So when any person that sits in our seat, in our chair, what we do is we first analyze their skin, and then we'll ask them if they have any skin conditions, and according to that, then that's the kind of makeup that we would use.
I see.
Some people have very sensitive skin, so we use like very sheer foundations, and we have to be very careful with products that we use. So it would be more more natural makeup, more organic makeup. Some people are okay with that. Some people like it very heavy. So it just depends on the client.
But I think the
and on the
foundation is the key.
Yes.
I heard that foundation is the key of any. It's like a canvas.
Yes.
When you first coat of paint, when you do on a canvas, and that's when you put the regular rest
Absolutely.
of the paint on.
Yes.
So I think that is the key. The right foundation, the right.
Absolutely.
If your skin is moist, very moist, then a little bit of a normal foundation, I think.
Yes,
And
yeah.
if it's not, if it's dry like mine, then you use the little bit of moisture. So
yes.
I think foundation plays a big role in makeup.
Sometimes what we
And,
do is we even add a little bit of luminous inside our foundations. If their skin is very dry,
Okay.
we'll add a little bit of luminous in it so that their skin could get more brighter and it'll look more shinier and more fresher. So we do that with people who have more
okay.
dry skin. But she has her skin is actually it was a little bit oily, but once we put on the foundation, it kind of just settled everything in together. And as you can see, as you're completely right, that when foundation is the key. And a lot of people, what they do is when they wear foundations, they really think that they should wear like 2-3 shades lighter to look brighter. But the skin looks off then, their face will turn more gray. So
Right.
you have to be more closer to your skin
Your own
color,
tone.
your own tone as much as possible. And normally when we do that, there's different ways, I guess, when in some other episodes when we'll talk about that and how to find your skin tone. That's something that we can talk about later, but definitely you're absolutely right. That's the key. Foundation is the key. And if you put it on properly, so some people like using it with the brush. Some people like using sponge. Some people like using their hands. There was a time when people back then were using just their hands and
Yes,
they weren't
that's
using
right.
anything.
Yeah.
And now the funny thing is that now we are taught to use brushes and sponges.
Yeah.
But now we believe it or not, hands-on has come back again because they say that you can blend nicer.
Yes,
it can
I think
absorb
so.
into the skin because
Yes.
of the warmth of the fingers. So it makes a difference. when you do that. But obviously, when you have a client, we can't really do that. But when you're doing your own foundations, it's actually makes a difference if you use the warmth of your fingers to kind of blend in your foundation with it. So yeah, and then once
Well, she looks beautiful.
Yes, and then what I did use is a little bit of loose powder to finish off the look before this is before I brought her here. So just to give her a little bit a finishing.
Yes.
So we use after you use foundation, you must use some kind of powder. It's either a pressed powder. So if she has very, very oily skin, if your skin is very, very oily, you would use more of a pressed powder. But and if it's dry, then you use more of loose powder. So that will really even out the skin, and it's not going to look cakey anywhere. You won't see many lines there. So this a good powder really makes a huge difference.
Okay.
So that's something that I did do before I made her come over here. Yeah, so that's something that basically this is what a complete party look looks like. And and if what I do is I teach as well. So if there's somebody who has any issues with doing their own makeup because of COVID and this whole pandemic has really affected everyone, even us as artists, in terms of our business. But what I was thinking that because of all this, a lot of women now are sitting at home and they're bored and stuff like that, and they're not going too much, they're not going out as much. But I think that if they learn just even a couple things how to do their own makeup, it really will make a difference.
Definitely.
So that's something that I am really doing right now. So if there's anybody who'd like to learn their own makeup, or so self-grooming, so basically you have your styling in there, you have your couple of hairstyles and different makeup looks, so for a day look or night look, party looks and stuff like that, or sometimes even just a business look. You just want to go out there.
Yeah, and I was actually seeing that. I said if she could, maybe just tone it down a bit, she could actually go to work like that too.
Yeah,
I think she looks. It's not like overly done that you can't go to work with it. I think it looks pretty.
For work,
decent.
I would definitely make her lips
lips a little
more
bit
lighter,
neutral,
more neutral.
Yes.
And then maybe I would just put a little bit of powder to kind of settle down more of the makeup, so it looks a little bit lighter. Her blush probably a little bit lighter, just to kind of, yes, she has that glow, but you can definitely we can manipulate it. That within 5 minutes we can just kind of make her look like she's going to work, change her hairstyle, and do that. But we'll definitely do that in another segment for sure. But today I just wanted to, because I know there's a lot of people are excited to go out now and go to parties and stuff.
And I think it makes you feel better. Sometimes you're sitting at home and even doing a Zoom party. These days there's a lot of Zoom parties happening. तो आप Zoom पे अपने friends के साथ बात कर रहे हैं और आप बहुत ऐसे थके से और वो लग रहे हैं, तो वो बात करने का मज़ा नहीं आता. तो आप अपना मेकअप खुद भी कर सकते हैं. तो मैं बहुत खुश हूँ कि आपने बताया कि आप क्लासेस भी करती हैं. तो बहुत ही सुंदर लग रही हैं आपकी मॉडल, और मैं चाहूँगी कि हम इस तरह के और भी सेशंस इस शो पे करें. और क्योंकि जैसे हम अच्छा फील करते हैं, हमारी लाइफ में खुशी आती है, और खुशी ही ज़िंदगी है. अगर हम हर पल खुश रहकर बिता सकते हैं तो मेरे ख्याल से हमारी ज़िंदगी भी खुश हो जाएगी. तो अब हम चलते हैं. आपको आने का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करते हैं, और थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग, एंड यू आर ब्यूटीफुल, एंड आई एम ग्लैड यू आर इन आवर स्टूडियो, एंड विल मीट यू अगेन. थैंक यू अगेन शैबी.
थैंक यू सो मच. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
फिर मिलेंगे अगले हफ्ते इसी शो में, इसी जगह पर, और जी ले ज़िंदगी के साथ आप भी जुड़े रहिए और आए मिलके जी ले ज़िंदगी.
Disclaimer. TV Chaar hereby declares that this is a TV show promo produced by Chaar Productions Limited and is solely made for the purpose of entertainment only. The audio in this promo is not owned by Chaar Productions Limited. Hence, there is no copyright infringement intended. The song rights are owned solely by T-Series and video rights are owned by Chaar Productions Limited.